Good evening from Alliance, Ohio and Carnation City Mall. I'm your cruise director, Kristen. This mall is interesting. It definitely has a rare aesthetic with its faux outdoor street lamps and blue sky ceiling. The ubiquitous brown basket weave tile that was present in so many malls in the 80s is still here, creating the feeling of cobblestones when juxtaposed against the other outdoor elements. It's interesting. It's also pretty empty. We've got Dunham Sports, a classic gingham Bath & Body Works, a few mom and pop stores and local organizations sprinkled throughout, and that's basically it except for the wing that houses a theater. If I had to place an estimate, we're at about 25% occupancy here. Here in Alliance, they're about 40 minutes from Akron, where Chapel Hill and Rolling Acres languished and closed over the last 2 decades, and yet this mall remains open. This mall was not a lot of fun to research. There's not a whole lot out there on it, which makes me wonder if it was ever a blockbuster success. One thing is for certain, in 2021, it has the worst parking lot I've ever driven on. This is coming from someone who legitimately mangled one of her rims in the parking lot of Century 3 Mall in Pittsburgh, and this one still takes a prize. 3 cheers for driving something trail-rated. Carnation City Mall opened, from what I can piece together, in 1983 and was developed by a local firm called the Mall Company. The Mall Company is an excellent understated name for such a firm, but I'm here to tell you that understated name makes it not a lot of fun to Google. I've covered a few other malls in Ohio that were developed by them, namely Miami Valley Center in Piqua and Woodland Mall in Bowling Green. Since the Mall Company was an Alliance-based company, it's probably a fair guess that this was their first mall, and I haven't been able to find any of theirs that predate Carnation City. While Miami Valley Center and Woodland Mall share a lot of design elements, this one is completely unique. As is the case with many malls from the early 80s, this one is light on skylights and heavy on brown. So why is Alliance called the Carnation City? In 1866, a local doctor purchased 6 red carnation plants and grew them at a greenhouse in his home. It was not a popular flower for cultivation at the time. The doctor, Levi Lamborn, later ran against William McKinley for Congress, and Lamborn often presented McKinley with a red carnation to wear in his lapel during their debates. The bloom became associated with McKinley, and 3 years after his assassination in 1904, the carnation was made the official state flower of Ohio, and Alliance was dubbed the Carnation City by the Ohio State Assembly in 1959. Inexpensive bouquet lovers, rejoice. Carnation City Mall hasn't undergone many updates over the years. At opening, it was anchored by Kmart, JCPenney, and a department store called Carlisle's that had 14 locations at its peak and was based in Ashtabula, Ohio. In 1988, a Comfort Inn hotel was added to the back of the mall, but I never found any articles indicating the inside of the mall itself has ever undergone a big remodel. If you're from here, let me know if you know anything about whether this mall has always looked like this. When did they paint the ceiling blue? Kmart closed in 2000 and was shortly thereafter replaced by Elder Bierman, who remained until August 2018 when their parent company Bon-Ton's bankruptcy closed the entire chain. Carlisle's was purchased by Peebles in the 80s and was later Goodies. Its last tenant was a furniture store called The Sofa Place. JCPenney stuck around until August 2020. Down the corridor going toward the theater, you start to see a little bit more activity, and it was here that I encountered the most people while walking around. There's a great-looking arcade that is spilled out into the mallway, drawing in both people and their quarters. In early 2020, there were several news stories indicating that the mall was in the process of being sold by its current owners, D&L Ferguson LLC. The sale does not appear to have been completed yet, but I'm sure the pandemic has probably slowed down that process. It remains to be seen or announced who is buying it, and if indeed they are still doing so. One article speculates it could be Kohan Investment Group, who have been on a shopping spree buying up malls in northern Ohio for the last few years that include malls in Findlay, Ashtabula, and Akron. The new, as of yet unnamed owner indicated their game plan was to entice new anchor tenants and remodel the interior. Oddly, they seem to intend to keep the mall enclosed as a retail center, which is unusual these days. When there are updates, I'll be sure to share them on my social media, so if you're not following me on Twitter, here's your notice that you probably should be. This is a neat place to walk around, and the whimsical outdoor theming isn't something you get to see every day. If you're in the area, you should check it out. You can even still go get a pretzel after you've checked out the arcade. Thank you for watching. The next video is big. I've had to sit on the footage for a while now, and I'm very excited to bring you the UniComm treatment for one of the best known and most infamous abandoned malls standing. Can you guess what it is? Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure your notifications are on so you'll get to see it when it drops. Thank you as always to Phil, Eva, Dean, TJ, and the rest of our patrons for making trips like this one possible. I could not do it without your support. If you'd like to become a patron, please see the link in the description. This is UniComm Productions, proud members of the DMod fam, and this is your cruise director, Kristen, signing off until next time. Take care.